The gates of Buchenwald stand in silence. The metal letters still read, "Jedem das Sein," to each his own. But inside those gates, justice never existed. World War II. The Nazi Empire stretches across Europe, and in a corner of the Buchenwald concentration camp, a doctor begins his work. His name is Erwin Ding-Schuler, a man trained to heal, now devoted to killing in the name of science. He walks through Block 46, a long corridor that smells of disinfectant, sweat and fear. Here, every scream is a data point, every death an experiment. More than 1,000 prisoners, Jews, Roma and political dissidents, are brought into his care. But care is not what they receive. They are injected with typhus bacteria, starved, beaten and dissected in the pursuit of research. When the fever kills them, Ding-Schuler writes in his diary, "Result, negative," and the next group is led inside. The Nazi regime called it science. History calls it murder. Germany in the 1930s was obsessed with purity. Racial purity, genetic strength, and the twisted idea that science could prove superiority. Heinrich Himmler's SS built the Hygiene Institute, a network of laboratories dedicated to protecting German soldiers and eradicating diseases that weakened the race. In truth, it became a front for torture dressed as research. By 1939, as war erupted, Buchenwald was overflowing. It held political prisoners, resistance fighters, Jews, and anyone the Reich wanted erased. The SS needed doctors to control outbreaks of typhus, a lice-borne plague ravaging the front. And Erwin Ding-Schuler, ambitious and eager to rise, volunteered. He saw opportunity where others saw horror. Inside Block 46, he found the perfect laboratory. Thousands of captives who could never refuse. Their bodies became his tools. Their suffering became his legacy. The lights burn late in Block 46. Outside, snow falls over Weimar. Inside, needles flash under yellow lamps. This is where medicine crossed the line and never came back. From 1941 onward, Block 46 became the beating heart of Nazi medical cruelty. At first, Ding-Schuler tested typhus vaccines on rabbits and monkeys. Soon that was not enough. He demanded human trials. The command was granted. Prisoners were divided into groups. Infected, vaccinated and control. Each morning nurses drew blood with dull needles. Each evening bodies were hauled out for dissection. Fever would take them first, then delirium. Then the heart would stop quietly as another note filled the doctor's log. To the SS, this was progress. To the prisoners, it was the end. But there were witnesses. Men forced to serve inside the laboratory who risked their lives to record the truth. Among them was Eugen Kogon, a political prisoner ordered to catalogue Ding-Schuler's reports. And beside him, Dr. Ludwik Fleck, a Jewish microbiologist and former professor, forced to assist in the experiments. Fleck studied the samples under a microscope and made a decision that would change lives. He and his small team began sabotaging the work from within. They created 2 vaccine formulas, one real, one fake. The fake serum, harmless and useless, was sent to the German army. The real vaccine they quietly gave to the prisoners. Every shipment that left Block 46 carried both murder and mercy in the same box. Each mislabeled bottle was an act of defiance. Meanwhile, Ding-Schuler grew bolder. He began testing poisons, acridin, methylene blue, even cyanide derivatives, claiming they could sterilize infections. Victims convulsed for hours before dying. Others were injected with smallpox and yellow fever cultures. He wanted results faster than the disease could deliver them. The doctor's arrogance was limitless. He believed he was building the future of German medicine, that his name would be honored after victory. He even invited visiting SS officials to tour the lab, proudly showing them racks of infected prisoners as proof of progress. By 1944, the death toll had surpassed 1,000. The stench of decay seeped through the camp. Guards wore masks, but the scientists did not. They had long since stopped smelling death. Outside, the war turned against Germany. The Allies advanced. Inside Buchenwald, whispers spread that liberation was coming, but Ding-Schuler did not stop. He accelerated. The closer defeat drew, the more furious his experiments became, as if he could win immortality before the Reich collapsed. And yet, within the horror, resistance continued. Fleck and Kogon kept falsifying data, preserving samples that might one day prove what had happened. They risked execution daily. Their courage was the one pure thing left inside that poisoned building. Spring 1945. The Third Reich is dying. American tanks approach Weimar. The SS begins to destroy evidence. Orders echo through Buchenwald: burn the files, kill the witnesses, erase Block 46. But the chaos comes too late. On April 11, 1945, American forces enter the camp. What they find defies comprehension. Thousands of corpses, rows of medical charts, bottles of serum, and a diary written in neat clinical handwriting. The diary belongs to Erwin Ding-Schuler. Inside are 4 years of records. Every infection, every injection, every death. It reads like an accountant's ledger of agony. Ding-Schuler is arrested. At first he insists he was following orders. Then, facing certain trial, he hangs himself in his cell on August 11, 1945. Some call it suicide. Others believe the SS helped him die to silence what he knew. His death does not stop the truth. In 1946, 23 Nazi doctors stand before the Nuremberg military tribunal in the first of the war crimes trials. The doctors' trial. They are charged with crimes against humanity. The world sees, for the first time, photographs from Block 46. Skeletal men strapped to tables, skin covered in sores, faces frozen in terror. The courtroom is silent as witnesses speak. Eugen Kogon describes cataloguing death reports under orders. Ludwik Fleck tells the judges how his team saved lives by deceiving the SS. And prosecutors read aloud from Ding-Schuler's diary, his own words condemning him from beyond the grave. Subject 14 expired, injection at 900, death at 21:45. Result, vaccine ineffective. That one sentence stands for 1,000 murders. Several of Ding-Schuler's colleagues are sentenced to death, including Joachim Rogowski, the head of the Hygiene Institute. Others receive life imprisonment. Out of that courtroom comes something the world had never seen before: a moral code for science itself. 10 rules written in the ashes of Buchenwald and Dachau. They are called the Nuremberg Code. Rule 1. The voluntary consent of the human subject is absolutely essential. It is the foundation of modern medical ethics, a shield built from the bones of the victims. But for many survivors, justice feels hollow. No punishment could undo the screams in Block 46. No law could return what was lost. The real sentence for humanity was memory, to remember forever what happens when curiosity serves cruelty. The ruins of Block 46 still stand in fragments at Buchenwald. The walls are cracked, the tiles stained. Visitors walk through in silence. Some weep, some stare, some whisper prayers for those who died unnamed. Each year, thousands come, students, historians, doctors, to face what science became when stripped of conscience. The air feels heavy, as if the ground itself remembers. Historians have pieced together Ding-Schuler's life from scattered records. Born in 1912 in Bavaria, he joined the Nazi Party early, seeking power through medicine. He was not a genius, not even remarkable, just ambitious, obedient, and cruel. That may be the most terrifying truth of all. Evil does not always come with genius. Sometimes it wears the face of mediocrity with a scalpel in its hand. Modern researchers still study his notes, not for knowledge, but for evidence, to track victims, to confirm sabotage, to give names to numbers. Digital archives in 2025 revealed Fleck's hidden annotations in the margins, confirming he and his colleagues protected prisoners while pretending to obey. It was proof of bravery in the darkest place imaginable. The story of Erwin Ding-Schuler is a warning carved into history. It reminds us that every experiment, every test, every scientific pursuit carries a question of ethics. Without morality, discovery becomes destruction. Buchenwald today is a memorial and a museum. The Nuremberg Code it inspired governs medicine worldwide. When doctors take the oath, "Do no harm," they echo the ghosts of Block 46. And yet, even decades later, rumors persist. The Ding-Schuler's research was quietly reviewed by Allied scientists after the war, desperate for vaccine data. Perhaps parts of his work lived on in hidden archives. Perhaps the world still benefits unknowingly from knowledge born of suffering. It is a moral paradox that haunts medicine to this day. Standing before the memorial, one sees a single candle burning beneath the photograph of Dr. Ludwik Fleck. It flickers beside a plaque that reads, "He saved lives where life was forbidden." His act of defiance is the light that cuts through the shadow of Ding-Schuler's crimes. The snow still falls on Buchenwald each winter. It covers the graves, the broken stones, the rails that once carried prisoners to their fate. But when the wind passes through the trees, it carries a whisper, not of the doctor's name, but of those he tried to erase. Their story endures, their courage endures, and their suffering stands as a warning for every generation that follows. Never again.